Welcome to Checking In, a Lodging DEI chat. I'm your studio host, Orrin Stewart. Thank you all for joining us today. We have a great episode in store. Stay tuned. Once again, thank you for joining us here at Checking In. I'm your studio host, Orrin Stewart. Now it's time to introduce our hosts of the show, Miranda and Leon. How are you both?
Doing great. Hi.
Hey, Orrin, everything is great. Everything is good. Hey, Miranda, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome. And happy Mardi Gras. I got my beads. I got my non-alcoholic beverage in my Mardi Gras cup.
Okay. But see, the last show, you talked to me about props, right? You're like, why do you have these things around? And so as you were going through, show me again your Mardi Gras. Go ahead. Go through your whole deal again. What do you have
I've got my beads and my Mardi Gras cup. I am ready. I'm a Louisiana girl.
Okay. See, you're ready. I'm looking around and I don't, I mean, I have a tripod. Does that count? No.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, give me one more, and then how about a set of binoculars? How about Okay. Well, forget it then. I guess I'm not in. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You can still laissez les bon temps rouler with me.
Say that again.
Laissez les bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll.
Okay. Yes. Let the good times roll. Yes. Let's do that. Right on. So here we are, episode number
19.
19. Yes, we
How cool is that?
That is so cool. Yes, thank you for being my partner in this. I'm having such a great time doing this show.
Thank you. Me too. And it all started with one little LinkedIn message.
One little message. The power of networking. If you don't believe it works, folks, we're here. Contact Miranda. Contact me. And we'll tell you the whole story about how this all came about and the importance of networking. And Miranda, I have to share this one with you. So I was in a restaurant that a friend manages.
Okay.
And he comes up to me and he says, "Do you do a show?" I go, "Yeah, I do several shows." He says, No. I mean, there's one that's really kind of touching on restaurants a little bit. Like, yeah, you're talking about a lodging DEI chat. He says, yeah. He says, you know what? My chef watches it.
Nice.
And I'm like, yes, this is great. This is great. So the chef comes out and gives a quick hello and and all of that. And I love the show and he's sharing it with folks. So yeah, it's pretty cool when you hear that.
I have to share with you that I was just at an academic conference in Las Vegas last week, and I had several people come up to me and tell me that they love the work we're doing. So,
wow, how cool
people
is
are
that?
listening.
Yeah,
and
that is
want
great.
to be on the show.
Yes, that is great to hear. So for episode 19, tell us about our guest today.
Oh, our guest today is a very near and dear friend. She is not just a friend, but also a co-author with me on several manuscripts we publish in the same field, Dr. Lisa Cain.
Yeah. Hey.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be on this show. I'm so honored and excited to be here. I am one of those people at the conference you were at who does watch this DEI podcast, and I absolutely love it. And I'm truly delighted to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us. Where are your beads and mug and all that stuff? You didn't bring all those things with you?
Oh, I have a Candyland piece.
Okay, all right. We'll go with that.
Perfect.
We'll go with that.
It's the right color. It's it's green. So it's a good.
That's right. I'll take it.
It is green. Well, then wait a minute. Before we get started and deeper in the conversation, does a green racquetball count?
You know what? For you, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now I'm feeling pretty good.
I feel like I wouldn't want to get hit with one at a parade though. So
I think you're right. Yes, you would not. You would not. Yeah.
awesome. Well, Lisa, I'm so glad that you're here with us because you are an expert in one of the areas that we like to talk about. So, in female representation. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do in that space?
Absolutely. So, my background is I actually went to a women's college, and I happen to be a woman. So, the topic is very near and dear to my heart. But basically, I work with a group of women in the Women's Hospitality Initiative, and I also have other partnerships in that I'm working with now. And we've sought to bridge this divide, fill the gap of women in C-suite and higher leadership roles, because there's a great number of women representation at the line level employment in the hospitality industry, but it's actually a very male dominated industry, particularly in restaurants, in the kitchen. And so we sought to examine all of the factors that helped women who did make it to that C-suite level, and identify and pinpoint what it is that helped them get from point A to point B, so that we could start to remove those barriers to entry for the rest of the population. There are studies that show the benefits of having a diversified portfolio of representation, both gender and otherwise, at the highest levels of the organization. And so the goal is to start with people going into the field and making them aware that this is what it takes to get past that hurdle. This is what it takes to jump over that broken rung to make it to the higher levels of management. And when they go in knowing these things, that knowledge becomes power, and they can work to combat that, not just for themselves, but for their peers. We have male advocates, we have women empowering women, and it's really exciting to see those aha moments and to really help encourage greater diversification and representation in the managerial levels. So
I think that's absolutely fantastic, and I applaud you for doing that work. And I would imagine that a lot of the strategies that you're seeing for females to overcome, or for women to overcome those challenges, could be applied to other underrepresented groups.
Absolutely. I think all of the challenges across the board are similar, because the social and cultural barriers that have been implemented either consciously or subconsciously are the same. So one of the things that we pinpointed, I heard you talking about this at the start of the show, was mentorship, right? And networking. So women are less likely to identify mentors and to network as effectively, because in part because they don't see people who look like them at the higher levels, so it can be more intimidating. So the more female representation we have, the more likely we will have female mentors, be more comfortable in that mentorship mentee relationship, but also knowing that there's a lack of female representation may encourage young women to go seek a male mentor, and just be aware that that relationship is what is important, and not necessarily the gender of the person who is the mentor. And then paying it forward, the importance of knowing how important mentorship is and how important networking is, and making sure that you're encouraging others to do the same. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the things I was thinking about when listening to you describe some of the work that you do and research that you do is there's so many intersectionalities there, right? So you could have a Black woman who now needs a mentor, or a Black woman who needs to hear success stories from another female, and how that's really helping that person grow, right? And so often in some areas we get so siloed into black, white, that we fail to see the intersectionalities of everything, the type of research that you're doing. And you touched on it a little bit when you talked about the idea behind networking, right? That's something that I hear lots of blacks say, that they're not good at networking, they don't know how to get started in it. Is there a like, are there one or two points that you could tell us now that help one become better at networking and meeting others? What tips do you have for that?
Well, I think the first is just an awareness of the importance of doing it, right? So, and it's certainly a self-confidence thing, and that's one of the issues that we address is this lack of, in the case of the class, this lack of female self-confidence, right? So there's a statistic that says that if for a woman to apply for the next level up in a job, if she doesn't meet 9 out of 10 or 10 out of the 10 criteria, she isn't going to put her name forward, put her resume forward to be considered for that position. And this is all statistically speaking. This is not my opinion. Statistically speaking, if a man meets 3 of the requirements for the same job, he will put his resume forward. And so to me, the first step is just that confidence building of it's okay to put myself out there. It's okay to, to put my hand out and shake someone's hand and say, hi, my name is, right? Because that can be intimidating, particularly if no one in the room looks like me, whether you're the only white woman, you're the only Black man, you're the only Black woman, etc. It's intimidating if you're the only one in the room who looks like you to put yourself out there. But the worst thing that happens is nothing comes of it, right? And the best thing that could happen is you have so much to gain from it, because then you can establish those relationships that can help give you that entree into a new experience and a new environment and new opportunities. So I think the biggest hurdle is just that confidence and overcoming that fear of rejection or the unknown or what happens if, and putting all of that noise aside to put yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Speaking of confidence, so I would imagine that this is especially difficult for, let's say, first generation college grads or college students, right? I know as a first generation college graduate that I had no idea what professionalism was, how to network, much less the importance of it. I was absolutely intimidated to put myself out there in those spaces, didn't really know how. And I was very fortunate to have a mentor who helped build up that confidence. It was a white man, but we love our white male allies, all of our allies. Where would you say you got your confidence from? Or where would you advise someone to get theirs? What's a first step in building that confidence specifically for networking?
I think specifically for networking, the first step is just, again, that awareness of that it is important and what this has the potential to do for you to grow. To your point about the professionalism, I think that the classroom is a really safe space for that. And that's why I crafted my class in the manner that I have. So to Leon's point, I do try to bring in people who are topical experts, but who also look different from me, because I only have my lived experience as a white woman, right? So I have other ethnic backgrounds that inform who I am as part of my identity, but they're not visible. So from the naked eye, I am a white woman. I bring in other women who have different ethnic backgrounds, and we have a Filipino guest speaker, we have a Hispanic guest speaker, we have a woman from China, we have Black women who come in and speak to the class. And so now I have students who see someone like me is here talking, and they have access to ask questions in a safe space where it's okay. There is no wrong question. There is no dumb question. They're encouraged to ask questions and engage. And to me, what it does is it levels the playing field and makes other people also seem approachable, because they have the opportunity to network in this safe space, to ask the questions and to see it will be received in a friendly and kind and welcoming manner. It will be answered. They will answer you outside of the classroom. They will get back to you. And if we can use the classroom as a networking safe space, I think that then opens up the door for them to network in business and in other areas of their life. And so, there's a huge power that we have in academia at the high school level, at the college level, et cetera, where we can create these safe spaces for learning and to really test the waters with getting a little bit outside of our comfort zone, knowing that there will not be any negative ramifications and that someone will be there to help us and guide us and protect us if we do take a misstep, and to give us guidance for how to ask the question in a more professional manner, or to present ourselves in a different way if that is something that is desired. So that's
a great answer.
Yeah. Folks, I'm Leon Thomas here with our co-host, Miranda Kitterlin Lynch, and our guest for today here on Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat is Dr. Lisa Cain. We're talking about her classes and research that she's done, courses that she's taught. Lisa, let's step away from this part of the conversation just for a minute. No, Miranda, we're not going to that question yet. Not yet, but it's coming. It's coming. All right, you're like, no, not yet. What are we cutting this short today? No. You know, I just noticed I'm not wearing a watch. It has nothing to do with the show, but I'm like, how did that happen? But anyway, Lisa, tell us some things about you. So away from this stuff, what do you like to do? What are some hobbies? What are some passions you have?
Well, I really enjoy running. For whatever reason, that is something that helps me to compartmentalize my thoughts, clear my head, makes me feel better. I always am a happier, better person at the start of the day if I've gotten a run in or some kind of physical exercise. So that's something that I'm really passionate about. I really enjoy spending time with my two kids. I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. They keep me on my toes. They keep me engaged. They're both very entertaining. They're funny. I never realized how funny little kids were, but the one-liners that come out of their mouths, I swear, if I followed them with a camera, I would be Insta-famous because they are just hilarious. Yeah. And I enjoy spending time with my husband on the golf course occasionally. I'm not a good golfer, but he is, and it's fun to just spend time with him. So
right on.
Yeah.
So now, do you want to hear my golf story, or you want to go deeper in the running? Your choice.
Ooh. Do we have to pick? Could we have both?
Oh, no. We have time considerations here. Maybe when you come back on the show, when you're a repeat guest, we can talk about the other.
Well, which would you prefer to start with?
Come on now. I can't
indulge him. You got to pick one.
You got to pick one.
All right, let's do running.
All right, let's do running. Here we go. I've run 2 half marathons, right? Baltimore Marathon in 2007 and the Baltimore Marathon in 2018, all right? And you know what I've found is that the training is the hardest part. Race day's nothing, right? If you've put the training in, like so many other disciplines, right? If you put the training in. But all right, so check it out. I'm in the Baltimore Half Marathon back in 2018. My wife and I are running this thing together. She's having a blast. And I said, honey, looking forward to running another half marathon with you. And she says, oh, yeah. This is like at mile 9. We get to mile 11 and we have to go around a lake, like a 2.5-mile lake, and come out of that and go up some hills. And she says, I'm not doing this again, Leon, ever. Ever. So in 2.5 miles, we went from, yeah, this is great, to, I ain't doing this anymore.
But you're not divorced.
We're not divorced. we're not divorced. But it's because I haven't asked her to run another half marathon, probably while we're still married. Yeah. So she'll watch this show and it's like, what did I tell people that for? Why did you have to tell them? And I want to say to our producer, Oren, if you have my wife's number, please don't force her to watch this show. Don't send her a text, Oren. You got that? Okay, good. Thanks, Oren. Okay, I'm done. There's the half marathon story. Next time, Lisa, you'll hear the golf story. Good.
I love it. And good for you guys. I don't know if I'd run to save my life.
Classic. I love it.
Lisa, do you want to tell us a little bit about some of your research in women in leadership, or would you like to share more about your class, or do you want to do both?
I'm happy to do both. I'm really passionate about the class actually, because to me, it just is such a difference maker in terms of giving our young men and women the knowledge and the information that they need to go into industry, because I can reach 40 to 50 of them at a time, and then they can in turn take that information, share it with their mentors, their bosses, their peers, their subordinates, and it just seems to have such traction and legs. And the thing that I love about the class, like I said, is they have this opportunity to meet these women who have already broken that glass ceiling and jumped over that broken rung. And they do look diverse, they come from diverse backgrounds. And so it creates this level of equity. Our students all have access to these really high powered, influential, and really motivational speakers. And it's so inspiring to them. I know that because I get student feedback on every single speaker. And so I hear about how these women and men inspire these young, new hospitality professionals. And it's so nice because it doesn't matter if they come from an affluent family or not. It doesn't matter what their background is. They now have access to people they wouldn't otherwise have access to, and they get to then stay in touch with them. All of my speakers leave their contact information, and they've shared with me that several students have reached out. There are job opportunities for our students through each of these discussions. And so it's really exciting to know that all of these opportunities are being presented in addition to this really powerful self-esteem building class that allows them access to this really important information. So the class is really special for me. I get a lot of warm and fuzzies from teaching it and from sharing this information semester over semester, and just giving our students access to these really high-powered professionals that they wouldn't otherwise necessarily get access to for perhaps years to come. So I do love that.
And could you remind our listeners what's the name of the class?
It's called Women in Hospitality Leadership. So
I love it.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And do you think that your guest speakers would mind you sharing some of the names of some of your favorite speakers?
Oh, well,
I'm sure they're all your favorite.
They're all fantastic. So we have a few that have been on every single semester across all of the classes. Dr. Mary Choi Kelly is one. She is phenomenal. Her lived experiences are truly inspiring. Elizabeth Blau is a restaurateur and consultant. She is just a force. The information that she shares is so practical and pragmatic, and it's really exciting to just kind of take it back to the basics and, learn about not just the importance of mentorship, but the importance of a thank you note or a follow-up, or, just putting yourself out there and taking that risk. Poonam Mathur is another one of our very regular guest speakers. She is she's involved with the Elaine P. Wynn and Family Foundation, and the way that she story tells is captivating. Her history is so rich and interesting. She's an Indian woman who grew up in Canada, lives in Las Vegas, has 2 Black children, 2 white children. She is the epitome of someone who has lived a diverse life, and the way that she's able to convey her messages is captivating and motivational and uplifting. And I get excited every time I hear her speak. So and I know the students feel the same. And those are just 3 of my regulars, but we have everyone from Joanna James, who's the director of A Fine Line, the movie, come and talk to the class every term. We have Lorena Garcia come and talk to the class every term. So it's a really fun class, and it's truly inspiring.
That's awesome. You mentioned the importance of a thank you note, and one of our previous guests, Rachel Humphrey, who that's one of the things that she's very well known for throughout her career, is that handwritten thank you note.
Yes, Elizabeth emphasizes that, and I think it's a really valuable takeaway.
Mm-hmm. Leon?
So, Lisa, let me ask you this. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food is sushi, I guess, as a group. I don't really discriminate too much within that category.
All right, now let's dig a little deeper on that.
All right.
Have you ever had a Maryland crab cake?
I have had a Maryland crab cake, and it is amazing.
Where?
Well, so one of my husband's dear friends is a member at the Baltimore Country Club, and we got to go have lunch
Oh.
there.
Oh.
She had that fancy crab cake.
I had the
Oh.
crab cake. But we also had a iCree conference in Baltimore, and we had several, and there aren't bad ones. They're really delicious.
That's
Yeah.
where I had my first crab cake. So
Yeah.
we're legit.
You're legit. You had a real Maryland crab cake at that country club. So you had the real deal. Right. That's good. Because we had a guest on who said they had a Maryland crab cake at a barbecue joint in Kansas. Like, shut up. That ain't real.
I thought
No.
Leon was gonna pass out.
Oh man, that was really bad. So I'm glad you've had a real Maryland crab cake
In Maryland.
in Maryland,
Yeah.
in Baltimore even. Yes. So again, another reason to bring you back on the show. You've qualified. You've checked off 2 of the boxes. Yeah. And you're a friend with the host too. So you're just so that's great that you've had that Maryland crab cake. All right, good deal. That part's over. Miranda back.
You have time for one question or two?
Yeah, we can go with 2.
Okay. So what would you want young women to know? One thing that you would want young women to know as they enter into the industry or as they progress and seek those promotions and movements, etc.
The one thing I would want them to know is that a no is not necessarily a bad thing, and it's not permanent. So if you it's important to put yourself out there, and it's important to apply for that job. And instead of looking at it as I only meet 3 of the 10 criteria, look at it as an opportunity for growth. And to say, I can now grow into this role. If you meet 9 of 10 criteria for a job, then you're not really growing into it. You're already qualified for it. You're already doing that job, basically, or you have all the skill set, and there's not room for growth. But if you apply for it and you get a no, follow up, and there will be other opportunities that present themselves. It's not a knock on you. This wasn't the right opportunity at the right time, and that's okay. But your self-worth should not be tied up in that penultimate yes or no answer. There will be other opportunities, and go for those as well. And don't be afraid to go for that stretch job, because then that will allow you to grow into the role. So that's
I love that. That's really powerful. So let me ask you this. What would you go back and tell your 20-year-old self?
Oh gosh.
Only one thing.
I'd probably tell myself that because I think I hesitated on quite a few things. But at the same time, I wouldn't change anything, because then I might not be where I am today. And I'm so happy now. So there's that.
That's fair. Very fair. Leon?
You talked about the importance of mentorship as we come to a close of the show. You talked about the importance of mentorship, and I was thinking about some of my mentors, and I had some who, here, sit down, let me show you how. Right? I had one boss who said, "You're going with me to this event, and you're going to sit there and shut up and listen." Right? I said, "Well, I don't want to go do that." And he said, "That's nice. This is what you're going to do. And wear a suit. You got to look professional." Right? So we show up there, and I went with him like 3 times to this industry event. The 4th time he says, "You're in charge. You're representing our company now." I
Wow.
said, "But I've never done this before." And he says, "That's good. That's the only way for you to learn, is to go out there and do it. Go, and I'm here to support you."
I love
Right?
that.
And I think so often we need that mentor that pushes you out, but is standing there supporting you. And I heard you talk about that some as one of your themes and some of the things that we talked about. And as I was listening to you, I thought about my experiences in that. So yeah, thank you for that reminder. And also it's going to help me to now help others and become a mentor to others. So thank you, Lisa. Thank you for spending time with us and for sharing all that. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, you can always come back too.
Yeah.
I would be honored to.
Yes,
I'd be
you're
delighted.
back. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, Lisa, before you go, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Sure. So I have my LinkedIn profile, and you can certainly send me a message through that. And I'll promptly reply as quickly as I can. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so I look forward to connecting with some of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, great. Thank you again for being with us. Let's go back to our studio host, Orrin. Hello,
Yes,
Orrin.
indeed. How are you both? What a great show as usual, as always. Thank you once again for joining us here at Checking In, a Lodging DEI chat. I'm your studio host, Orrin Stewart. Please continue to stay tuned. We have another great episode coming to you shortly. Take care.